colleagues that are coming up. I want to thank, again, my staff. I want to thank the staff of the Division of Adult and Career Education. I want to thank my fellow committee members. There is no action item here, board members. It's just a report that I didn't give at the beginning. I want to thank my fellow committee members, Board Member Bennett Kaiser, Board Member Monica Ratliff, and in memoriam, Board Member Marguerite Poindexter Lamont. I want to again give a great amount of thanks to all members of the day staff. Executive Director Donna Brashear is here with us, and I want to especially thank the students, teachers, and administration at the four centers that we visited. The PowerPoint will now come up. I hope, there we go, and my colleagues can follow along, and everybody at home. We established this ad hoc committee at the direction of the board president in August. We held 4 committee meetings at West Valley Occupational Center, at Maxine Waters Employment Preparation Center, at Slauson Occupational Center, at Evans Community Adult School. The committee received testimony from stakeholders including the Division of Adult and Career Education, the Building and Trade Councils of Los Angeles and Orange Counties, DACE, teachers, and site administrators, UTLA, SEIU, ALA, the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce, and the LA City Workforce Investment Board. The key finding of this committee, board members, was since 2008, there have been devastating budget cuts that have decimated DACE's programs, causing declining enrollment, cuts in classes, closure of major programs. The slides indicate that in 2008, 2009, we had over 400,000 students enrolled in the Division of Adult and Career Education. By last year, we had only 100,000 students enrolled. If you look at the next slide, you can see that the unduplicated enrollment has fallen even more precipitously from 360,000 in 2009 to 100,000 in December of this past year. Critically also, we have families, we have students, we have adults in our community who have literally been turned away from our programs. We have, and I want to be clear when I say this, we have 16,000 students who have been turned away from adult education programs. And those are just the ones who had the courage, the time, the effort, and the initiative to actually put their names on the list. This is with no outreach. This is with no, we imagine that the number is, we know the number is exponentially higher, but even on the list, there are over 16,000. This is the findings that we have. But within this very, very difficult moment, there is also hope and possibility. Despite these cuts, there is still an enormous belief in this program. There is an enormous faith in this program. There is an enormous commitment to this program. And that commitment was heard over and over and over again in the testimony presented to this ad hoc committee. Despite the cuts, we still offer one of the largest adult education programs in the country. Despite the cuts, the waiting lists demonstrate ongoing adult education needs that cannot be met by any entity The AB 86 process offers the first hope for increased state funding since 2007. I'm going on here with respect for the dozens and dozens of students who have come to my, to these meetings, and I want to give them their, I want to respect their commitment. There's a real possibility that dual and concurrent enrollment can expand through this AB 86 process. And the recent administrative restructuring and the increased collaboration through the LA Compact position the Division of Adult and Career Education well for rebuilding and expansion. I want to go on to talk a little bit about AB 86. This is $25 million to provide a 2-year planning and implementation grant to a regional consortia of community college districts and school districts. This is from the bill language. The bill does give us the possibility for significant future funding, but only to regions where the community college district and the K-12 district can form regional partnerships and that can demonstrate both high degrees of collaboration and seamless pathways for adult students with diverse educational needs. I want to talk to the board a little bit about the consortium process. It's a 2-year planning and implementation grant to better serve the educational needs of adult learners throughout the Los Angeles Unified Area. It consists of K-12 districts and community college districts. The LA Compact, including the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Los Angeles, the Mayor's Office, have been actively assisting both LAUSD and LACCD in the process. We did submit a letter of intent on January 31st. LACCD is the fiscal agent. LAUSD is the representative to the state. February 24th is a preliminary action plan due. February 30th, the final application. June 30th, this consortia dissolves. And let me say, I didn't include in here, this is LAUSD, LACCD, but there are also other K-12 districts that are involved. Culver City, Burbank, Montebello, and I'm leaving one out. No, that's it. Okay, thank you, Donna. Those are the districts that are currently involved in this consortia. And then the next steps, I'll make a final comment when I'm done. Yes, until the February 24th, other districts can still join. Okay. What do we need to do to be able to better serve any parent, future parent, who comes into our adult system in the next 2 years and beyond? And after hearing all the testimony, and again, I didn't say at the beginning there's a lot going on up here, but I want to say that there is, we are going to submit to the board by the end of the week a draft narrative a draft narrative report, and I hope that in March the board will adopt this report. But there's certainly time for a lot of feedback and conversation for our draft report. So here are the critical next steps that we have identified in this draft. First, there needs to be a short-term investment to reduce the waiting list and stabilize programs. If we think of the period between now and when the consortia on July 1st, 2015 could take hold, that's the period of investment that we're talking about. There is no entity right now to meet the needs of the adults who are on the waiting list. Second step, continue to engage in this AB 86 process. This needs our engagement. Just like we just witnessed here, no process is perfect, but this has a chance of being transformative, a real chance of being transformative, but only if we're engaged, fully engaged. Third, we need to look at the expansion of counseling services and the expansion of dual and concurrent enrollment program opportunities. What I mean by dual enrollment, and I want to be very clear, there's dual and concurrent enrollment, and right now it is limited. Dual enrollment means you're a high school student and you are allowed to have, you are duly enrolled in courses in the community college. Concurrent enrollment means that you are, for example, an ESL student and you're also involved in a CTE program. And it could, in the future, mean that you are taking ESL courses through LAUSD, but you're taking CTE courses, let's say, for example, at Trade Tech. Fourth step is we recommend the development of a robust multi-measure assessment system for all DACE programs. Just like everything else that we're doing, just like the LCAP, we've got to hold ourselves accountable. Access to programs only gets to a certain point if we're not ensuring instructional quality in those programs. Our adult instructional program is diverse, and it needs diverse measurements to ensure that we are, that we have a healthy contract with our students and their family for instructional quality in the adult program. What does continued board participation mean in the AB 86 process? That we believe there should be a liaison or a representative from the board to the state in the consortium process, that we need to have monthly updates on the consortium plan and design. And the last one is particularly out of the box, but I think particularly important, that we have a joint committee with the LACCD Board of Trustees, that we're literally, at the very least, Trustee Eng, who has been asked by his board to take the lead, and if the board president, seeks to have my continued involvement, myself representing our board, meeting together, because as we look down the line, we're looking at an unprecedented partnership. We need to have some unprecedented joint convening to really move the process along. I'll end by saying I believe that our adult school classes, particularly our ESL classes and our learning labs, are among the most hopeful places I've ever visited in my life. And the hope of the students is incredibly contagious. And even though adult education is not formally included in Proposition 30, the stabilization that Proposition 30 and the new LCFF provides and this AB 86 process allow us for the first time to not think about what we have to cut, but what could be. In the last 2 weeks before the election for Prop 30, I made the commitment to start every morning in a pre-K or kindergarten classroom and end every night at an adult school class. And because I wanted to make sure, A, that I was hitting every possible school I could possibly hit in that time period. But I also wanted to remember the intricate connection that we have between all of our programs in the district. And it's not a particular student that I want to mention. It's actually not a parent I want to mention tonight. But it's a 22-year-old welder who's working right now in our underground economy. And he's decided right after getting married in this Valentine's Day season that he wants to really move forward in this economy. And he's figured out that to do that, he's got to get both, he has to learn English, and he needs to get certified. Well, what our consortia and what our LA Compact partners have done
have created the possibility that maybe, just maybe, for this 22-year-old welder, he can enter an ESL class at Evans or Eastside or Venice or any of our other community adult schools. But simultaneously, he can enter a CTE program, either at Slauson through our program or at Trade Tech through the community college program. And through that dual enrollment, that concurrent enrollment, he can both get the English skills that he needs and the certification that he needs to become a much more vibrant member of our economy. And not only that, because of our relationship with the building trades, this 22-year-old welder working in our underground economy this week, this week next year, could be entering into a building trades apprenticeship program that will set him on a trajectory for a stable job in a stable economy with skills that can't be taken away. And maybe, just maybe, in this week of romance and love, if everything works out the way it might, a year from now, with his new child, who 3 to 4 years from now is going to be our student in LA Unified School District, with health insurance, with a stable job, with the training and the stability that we can provide through this process, that next generation enters our classrooms much more stable and prepared. And it's all linked together. And that's what I want people to keep in mind as we consider both our engagement and our investment in this process. I thank you, Board President, for your...
Mr. Zimmer, you've worked hard and long on this, and appreciate you bringing the spotlight, as with all of our ad hoc committees have worked so hard and brought it to fruition. I know we've been in contact with the mayor and with the superintendent of public instruction, and they all want LAUSD to play a major role in this. And yes, I would like you to continue and meet with the community college, but I ask you, when you meet with them, that you also include the mayor's office at the same time, because he has expressed that interest, and so has the county. Yes. With Mark Ridley Thomas has asked us to join. And so what we're looking for is an expansion of certification programs and an expansion of programs that the state helps us fund. And the state rightly so, because we are the flagship. But you've done so much work, and where you've gone with this, please do continue. And I would like periodic reports, because I asked Torglitzen, our superintendent of public instruction, how are we, or what's the status? And his comment to me a week ago was, it's moving, but it's moving like a glacier. So I want it to move faster. So thank you so much, Steve. Ms. Ratliff, yes, ma'am.
So I just wanted to comment on the slide that had the wait lists on it. I definitely wanted to thank you for including this in here. I think it's really important that the spotlight be on what are the cumulative wait list totals by program. And I just wanted to definitely highlight the English as a second language line, in which we see that 5,264 adult students are waitlisted. I think that's really important, and certainly within my district, I have a tremendous number of Spanish-speaking constituents who want to take English as a second language. Now, one of the things I do want to point out, as we are focusing on the future, is I also have a number of African-American constituents within my community that have asked for Spanish as a second language classes. And so I think that it would be nice for us to take a look at that as we move forward.
Thank you. Steve, just again, thank you for all of your work, and I hate to say it, it's not over. So we're going to need you, and thank you, and continue to be the point. With that, We don't yet. We have public speakers, and then we're going to do adjournment, so.
Board members, I believe there may be two public comment speakers. If I could call up public comment speaker number 1.